Do we need to increase the accuracy, Ravindran? Yassine said it actually looks okay, right? We only made 4 errors. You got to know when to stop, right? I mean, you can't just, refine models forever, right? Businesses will give you a deadline. I think that the model, depending on the applications, right? This is going to be a useful model for a lot of applications, a lot of business use cases. So do we need to go further? Alan says, can we benefit at all from visualizing the final result? Sure. Yeah. People visualize the confusion matrices, but keep in mind that you do not want to show that to your stakeholders, right? Even this level of math is too much, right? One of the teams I've led, when I was first assigned to lead them, I walked into one of their meetings, it was like my second day, and they were showing confusion matrices to the business, and I just about died. I was like, oh, just choking, what are you guys doing? Don't do that. So yes, you can visualize them. It's very helpful to look at the proportions, right? There's some proportions here that we could be changing, right? But leave it in the team room. Leave it in the data science team room, okay? You should be taking that, creating your own results, writing those results in business language, and then that's what you present, okay? But great question, Alan. Hamad said ChatGPT uses 4% mini model after reset. Yes, it does, Hamad, but only for like an hour, I think. They throttle it. They throttle you to I think it was either an hour or 10 queries or something like that. They don't let you just sit there and go forever. It's very highly throttled for 4.0. They'll switch you to 3.5, I think, and that is free. And that coding engine in there is good enough. But 4.0, you can only use it for a limited time. 4.0 mini, you also mentioned. 4.0 mini is a little better in code, but it still makes mistakes, so be careful with that. Rex is asking an excellent question. How much of a code writer do you need to be in order to become a code editor? Yeah, Rex, really good question. And that is a little bit of a challenge, right? Because you do have to have some base level of knowledge to be able to say, oh, wait a minute, that code doesn't look right, or whatnot. Rex, a lot of this might just, I'm assuming somebody has, very limited coding background. In that scenario, it's going to be a lot of experimentation on your part, right? A little bit of trying different instances of code that ChatGPT gives you, running it, and then fixing the errors, right? Because Python will tell you when there's errors, right? And again, we saw that in the first class. In fact, Rex, I think you were there, right? Where they will make mistakes, right? And then the Python interpreter will tell you where the mistake is, and then you have to go and research that mistake on your own, right? So I think it's just going to be that process of, okay, well, that looks good, but let me run it. Oh, okay, here's the error. Let me go look at that mistake. Let me go look that up. In some cases, as you develop that skill more, you'll be able to see the errors on the screen within the chat window. And that's happened to me, where I'll do that and I can say, are you sure that this line looks right? I think you made a mistake there. And ChatGPT will correct itself. Doesn't always correct itself in the best way, right? Sometimes I found that the corrections themselves have errors, right? But yeah, I mean, you're just going to have to sit there and kind of develop an eye for it, develop the skill for it. In other cases, you might just want to do projects on your own too, Rex, right? Not everything has to start with ChatGPT. I recommend that because that's what the future is going to be. But if you're still saying, hey, I'm at a base level of development, then go ahead and start writing your own code from scratch. And that in itself will also help you develop that eye, right? That ability to read other people's code, ChatGPT's code, and be able to detect when things are wrong. Okay, so I hope that helps you. Explore the Beauty of Nature says, this is a good question. This may not be directly related to our current study. When presenting your results, should you include a detailed research publication style workflow? This would involve extensive literature, etc. I'm going to assume that you mean to the business, right? Or who are you saying when you're going to publish it? Or presenting your results. Who do you have in mind when you say presenting your results? Because I'm assuming you mean like your business stakeholders. So explore the beauty. Let me know what is the audience you have in mind? Because it can be audience dependent. The answer to your question. Let me know what audience you have in mind when you say that. Okay. No. After the update, they let us use Foro Mini model for free. Are you sure that's not throttled, Hamad? I mean, you may very well be right, but my understanding is that that's still throttled. Like there's still a time limit on there. Okay. If you understand the code, you are good to be an editor. Maybe. It makes you faster if you know code already, right? But yeah, I agree with that. Hamad says, explore the beauty, does not agree with you. Stakeholder wants results that will not literature review, presenting findings of PT. Hamad, you're partially correct. And that's why I asked explore the beauty to clarify, because he could be talking about other audiences where you would want to do a broader review, right? So it depends. It depends on the audience, right? Remember, as data scientists, we gotta clarify, right? In fact, Hamad, I think we had this discussion in Discord, right? You guys hear me use the term validate your assumptions, right? So that was me validating my assumptions. In some cases, Hamad is correct, but I think it depends on the audience. So let's see. So explore the beauty is going to clarify yes to the business stakeholders. So yeah, to the business stakeholders, you want to basically you want to limit the math, data science, the code, all that. So you just want to kind of give them the bottom line. Here's what we're good at. Here's what we're not good at with the algorithm that we made, right? If they ask further than that, you can tell them how many experiments you ran, what the results of those individual experiments was. In other words, how you got to the answer, not necessarily the technicals of the answer, right? Like the rationale more than anything else, right? The times when you do want to show a little bit more of that literature or a little bit more of that workflow might be like a model review team, right? So remember, guys, I make the assumption that the majority of us are going to end up working in large corporate environments, right? Most data scientists are employed in some sort of corporate enterprise environment, right? I mean, yes, there's government applications and research labs, but the majority of us are going to go work for like some, big corporate entity, right? And in those entities, you're going to have model review teams, right? Where they're going to review your algorithm and your process.